some coffee.
Whoa, hello people. How's it going? Who do we have? No, there's no giveaway tonight. Not that I'm aware of. I'd love to give something away to you guys, but I don't have anything right now to give away. It's all dried up. Andrew Orr, Dan Bayer, what up? Nathan, Son of the South, yo, Stanley, what up? Clockwork, Thunder Bites, Bobby Two Shades, Beth, how you doing? Sir Vic, the great Idini. Yes, another live stream. That's exactly what this is. I have one cookie. This is the cookie cam now. I was just finishing up my pre-stream meal. What's up, Chal? How you doing? Ravelo, yo, Jonathan. Blue Bob Man, Stephanie, hello. Fireball, Penguin Butt, what up? Cricket. Joseph, hey, what up? Yeah, the coffee cam is intriguing. It's about to become an empty bowl cam when I eat that cookie right there. What about a view on your cats? Can you give that away? Well, no cats are currently on the camera, but I can do that. At some point that'll happen for sure. Takeaway, like information you learn? Yeah, totally. There's tons of that around here. What up, Dane? How you doing, buddy? Tosh, yo! Evan, Adam, please don't use your knife like Wednesday stream. I mean, you know, the knife comes out on Wednesdays only, because that's when we paint miniatures over on Twitch. So the chances of it coming out today are very... Yeah, this cookie right here is from Penguin Butt. It's just, yeah. She makes cookies for like my patrons and members and Twitch subs all get access to, like, well, most of them at certain tiers get access to a VIP channel over on my Discord. And Penguin Butt makes cookies every time somebody joins. And so we have tons of cookies over in the VIP lounge. They always seem to run out though before I get there. And I don't know why. It doesn't seem fair to me, but I don't know. I mean, Penguin Butt kind of runs that. Penguin Butt and Danny kind of run that over there, and I don't really get a say in how things... Yeah, I've kind of been the target of mutiny over here, so I don't have a solution for it. Mr. Cody, what up? How you doing, man? First stream you've really watched? Cool. That's awesome, dude. William, what up? What IVs will this adventure for? Oh, what levels? So I did a poll on my channel, and I asked people what level range they wanted the adventure to be for, and overwhelmingly people said levels 5 through 10. And I picked level 8 because I have lots of free adventures that I give to people over on my site, thedmlair.com. And we were kind of missing a level 8 adventure, and I wanted to do a level 8 adventure to kind of fill in that gap. So I picked level 8 in that range. Yes, I paint minis. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be starting the stream here on YouTube, and then once the Q&A is over, we're going to go over to Twitch. So we're going to actually going to do the adventure creation on Twitch tonight. So if you're on a computer, it's not a problem because it's a website. You just go to it. If you're on mobile, then there's a Twitch app that you can get, and I don't think it's very good. It kind of sucks in my opinion, but it's an app. So what do you want? Don't forget to announce the stream. Announce what stream? What stream am I supposed to announce by one butt? Oh, in Discord. Oh, yes, that's a very good point. This is a very good point. Thank you, Penguin Butt. I always forget to do that. It's a good thing we haven't started yet. I always forget to announce it over on Discord. I have to spam everybody. Q&A and adventure creation. There we go. make sure I get the link. There we go. All right, the spam has been sent out.
Like, I'm sure they really appreciate that.
All right, that's done. Are you making a Theros adventure today? No, no, I just picked a pretty picture. I was like, I need a thumbnail. This looks cool. That was all of the thought that went into picking that thumbnail picture. No, Danny, I haven't read Exploring Eberron yet. I haven't even read the Eberron book yet. I'm working on the Eberron book though. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So I finished Curse of Strahd because I'm running a game, so I wanted to read the whole thing. For Curse of Strahd in particular, because it's a special module. Not all modules need to be read all the way through. But Curse of Strahd, it feels a little different. So I read that. And then now I've started on Eberron. I'm not gonna buy another book off DM Guild until I can actually read the one that I have. And in all honesty, like, I can't really read PDFs, so I'm gonna, if I do get Exploring Eberron, I'll probably get the PDF version first to make sure that it's worth getting a printed copy. But if I think it's worth it, I'm gonna want a printed copy. I can't read PDFs. PDFs are good for reference, but I can't read them. I want to be able to take a book to certain rooms of the house when I need to take to think and take a break. Yeah. So I need books for that. I can't do PDFs. I'm not gonna pirate it. It's available on DM's Guild. You buy it. I would buy the PDF off from it. I don't pirate books. Yeah, print it out. I would probably just pay 25 bucks for them to like print it professionally. I do not have a problem with giving people my money that earned it. If they create a good product, and I'm happy to pay them. People work their butts off to do these things, and so I don't want to, you know how much time it would take me to print it on my own printer? It would probably take me an hour or two just to print it. My time is worth more than the 25 bucks or 30 bucks that I would just pay them to print it and ship it to me, because I'm sure they have a print on demand service. There's no way I would print it myself. That's if it were like 2 minutes maybe, but no. Did you get the yellow paint yet? No, because the stupid game shop was closed when I went there, and I have to go back.
All right. What do you say if we let the show begin? Oh yeah. Roll that beautiful bumper. That's what I like to see.
Oh, I gotta change the screen. Haha, I'm professional. Hey, what's up, folks? So yeah, live stream. So this is what's going on tonight. We are going to be doing about an hour or 2 hours, I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes, of Q&A right here on YouTube. So you ask questions, I give you answers. They're probably not gonna be very good answers, but I'm just do my best with what I got here. So Q&A for a little bit, and then once Q&A is wrapped up, we're gonna go over to my Twitch channel, and there's a link down in the description. Also, moderator, could you throw a link to the Twitch channel too, and crap like that? We'll hash all that stuff out later. We're gonna go over my Twitch channel after the Q&A to do the adventure creation. So that's the plan for tonight. But right now it's Q&A, so you guys can bombard me with questions and stuff like that. Oh, I should get the spreadsheet opened. Also want to let you folks know that my Kickstarter, Into the Fae, is launching on September 1st. It is a level 1 to 5 adventure module. It'll take your players to level 5. It features lots of Fae creatures. That's why it's called Into the Fae. New custom monsters. What else am I customizing? It's got NPCs and crap in it. I think some spells and stuff. All of the adventures I wrote myself. It's pretty cool. I have lots of awesome artwork. I could probably give you a peek at the artwork, a peek at the cool artwork. that I've commissioned thus far. And I haven't commissioned all of the artwork yet because the Kickstarter hasn't been funded, and it would be very foolish to commission all of the artwork before you actually get your project funded. So I've commissioned enough to give folks a, like, you know, peek at it. But that's it. You suck. Every time I open up a preview of this art file, the art file is so big that my computer just dies. There we go. Second time's a charm. So this right here is the cover art. This is actually a view of the poster that we'll have. So it's not finalized necessarily, but into the Fae right here. This is the cover art right here. This artwork, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork here. This is like a mock-up of what the book will look like. Some more artwork that I had commissioned for this, and some maps. So my dungeon cartographer Lonnie made these maps right here. So lots of these awesome maps will be in there as well, and some monster artwork right here. Dice bags. So I think this one right here will be the Kickstarter exclusive version. This one right here may or may not be offered as part of the Kickstarter. I'm not, well, all those details will get figured out later, but high quality micro suede dice bags. These things they're insane quality. I have them right here. They're so beautiful. I love these things. Inside view, they have red lining, look very, very snazzy. So you're not looking at like the backside of the embroidery, and that's embroidery, by the way, like high quality embroidery. It's not just like an iron-on garbage or anything. I have a dice bag that I've had for a couple years, and it's falling apart. It's just not very high quality. These things I think will last. T-shirts, of course. Gotta have some t-shirts. It's beautiful. Ladies shirt as well. These are awesome. Oh, by the way, I still have to mail out the samples to a few of you, my editor and Danny and stuff. I got to do that. We'll have tactical tokens as well, made just for the Kickstarter. This is just some more cool art that I had commissioned. This is a razor gnome. Right here is a razor gnome. It's one of the custom monsters that will be in the module. And here is a sprite and another razor gnome right here, and then another sprite. So yeah. So anyway, just some little sneak peek at some of the cool artwork that we have there. So that's it. That's enough of the plug. Let's do some questions. It's like, I came for a Q&A live stream, and all you're doing is plugging your product. Ah! All right, I gotta go to the spreadsheet though. All right, spreadsheet, and let's see. I opened up the spreadsheet. Today is August 7th. Where is, I don't see a tab for August 7th. I see a tab for August 8th. Is that today? Are we pretending that today is August 8th in our spreadsheet? I'm gonna assume we are. Is it okay? Is that right? Okay, now they changed it. Okay, thank you. I was confused. Mod fails. Yeah, my moderation team is awesome though. I just pick on them. I like to pick on them. How are you going to determine how the DMs are picked? We don't know. We don't know. That post, Leonis, you're referring to that post in my Discord. Right now, we really don't have very many details figured out. I was simply probing the community for interest. Here's the thing: when you're thinking about doing something, you want to see if people are even going to be interested in doing it or not. And so it doesn't make any sense to put a lot of time and effort and work into planning something if people are then not going to even be interested in doing it at all. Because then you waste your time. And so that was a simple, hey, who's interested in this? To get an idea of if people are interested or not. And it looks like people are, and so, okay, things can proceed. But they will be vetted. They will be very, very thoroughly vetted, because if we are proposing to charge people to play D&D, then you're going to get a quality game. You're not going to get some piece of crap game. If you want a standard game, you can go find that anywhere. So what we're proposing is that this will be a very high quality thing. For those who want that service and are looking for that game experience, then we're going to provide something really cool for you. So DMs will be very, very carefully picked to be able to do that. Benjamin says, is there a character sheet generator or fillable PDF that doesn't suck? I don't know. I would have to Google it and then look at various ones, but I don't know offhand. If anybody has Google Foo and can Google it and search and then compare them, they might be able to help provide an answer. I haven't done that though. Well, I can tell you that D&D Beyond is amazing. If you want to create a character quickly and easily using all of the resources available without flipping through tons of books, D&D Beyond, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. As long as you got a lot of this. But if you got that, then D&D Beyond rocks. What's the status of the characters in your opening sketches? What's the status of them? Like, are they dead? Are you concerned that some of them have died and that they're no longer going to be back again? All I can say is you'll probably need to watch the videos to find out how they're doing. What's your favorite character you've ever made? Kobold Barbarian. I don't even know if I've ever made a Kobold Barbarian. What is some advice? I don't care. I don't care about my characters. I make characters and I expect them to die in 2 games. I just don't. I do not get attached to my characters. I am foolhardy with my characters, and in all honesty, I want my characters to die. When I'm playing, I want them to die within 2 or 3 game sessions so that I can make a new character. Because I just get bored. I don't want to play the same character for an entire campaign. It's just such a boring idea to me, which is probably why I'm a dungeon master, and my characters as a dungeon master get killed every single game session. And so almost every game, I get variety. I get to do something new. So I just don't care about my characters. So like, if you ask me what my favorite character is, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I also usually don't take what's your favorite questions very seriously. What's some advice you can give to someone who's thinking about writing and publishing their own modules? Dang, that's a good question. So, investigate very carefully DriveThruRPG and DM's Guild, because the cuts they take from you are different. DriveThruRPG will take either 60% or 70%, depending on whether you are exclusive or not to their platform. DM's Guild requires you to be 100% exclusive. And by the way, some of these small little details I might get a little bit wrong. Double check me. Use your own brain, do your own research. DM's Guild will charge you 50% of your take, and you lose ownership. My understanding is you lose ownership of your product. Wizards can decide at any moment that they want to use what you've put on DM's Guild for their own stuff, and you don't have you give up your rights to it. You give up your ownership to it. When I chose to start publishing on DriveThruRPG, there were 2 main driving factors for 3, I would say, for publishing on DriveThruRPG. 1, I want to keep as much of my money as possible because I did the work to create it. 2, I do not want to give up ownership of the stuff that I created to some company. Okay. And 3, the reason they charge a big cut is that they are putting your product in front of other people and getting visibility to it. And yes, you need to pay for that. I agree with that. But because I have my own little YouTube channel and other things that I do, ways to draw attention to the things that I create, I was far less concerned with the marketing aspect of things and more just concerned with having a mechanism whereby I can put something there for people to purchase it and stuff like that, and honestly, if you have your own marketing mechanism, if you're really good at, I don't know, Google ads or Facebook ads or some crap like that, then you might not need that either, and you might be able to set up your own little gig. But those are just some things to consider. When you first start, you're going to suck, and what you create is going to be pretty poor quality probably. Focus on continual improvement, slowly getting better and better and better, but you do need to start. If you wait 5 years because you're trying to perfect it, then you've lost. You've already lost. You need to just start with an MVP, a minimum viable product, and get rolling. My first things that I published on DriveThruRPG are just very poor quality in my opinion, and they slowly get better as I get more experience doing it. That's true. DM's Guild does allow you to use Wizards of the Coast IP, intellectual property, completely, which is something I can't do. So when I publish things on DriveThruRPG, I have to be very, very careful not to use anything that Wizards of the Coast owns, any of their IP, because if I do, I can get in trouble. And so things like, I don't know, UNT, carrion crawlers, mind flayers, beholders, any of these things I can't use. You can't even say dungeon master. They apparently own the rights to dungeon master, so I have to say game master. I can't reference the core, I can't say the monster manual or the player's handbook. I have to say the player's core rulebook or the game master's core rulebook. Everybody knows what that means. You can't even, when I publish things in Drive-Thru RPG, I can't even say that it's compatible with D&D 5th edition. I can't even say that. You know, I can just say 5th edition compatible, but I can't mention Dungeons and Dragons in my product. So like, you need to be careful. If you're going to publish on Drive-Thru RPG, be very careful about that. Over on DM's Guild, don't got to worry about it because you're giving up rights of your product over to them, and you can use their IP. So yeah, there's a bunch of thoughts there. Andrew Orr says, should we stop asking what your favorite things are, please? Unless it's actually an interesting question. And I don't know how you would possibly determine that. I'll just use your discretion. Nico Prisco, what up, dude? Welcome. There's tons you can't use? Oh, really? Wait, on DM's Guild? So Dan Bayer, there's a bunch of stuff if you publish on DM's Guild that you can't use. I wasn't aware of that. I'm not super familiar with DM's Guild rules, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I did my initial analysis about 3 years ago, and I was like, DM's Guild, and so I haven't really looked at it a whole lot. So don't quote me on crap. If you're looking into doing this sort of thing, anybody should do their own homework. Don't trust some moron on YouTube to give you business advice. What's your favorite question? Oh, Adam, that one right there. That's my favorite. What's your favorite question? Oh, that's perfect, dude. What's your favorite way to TPK? I never TPK. Never. My players TPK themselves. That's the truth of it. I've only actually had 2 TPKs. Oh, three. I've had 3 TPKs since I started playing 5th edition. There have been 3 TPKs, and in each instance, the players brought it upon themselves. 100%, they made really bad decisions, and I was like, all right, you made your bed, so you're sleeping in it, dude. And so I stuck with my guns. Do campaigns have to get to level 10, or should you always shoot for level 20? You can shoot for whatever level you want to shoot for. In fact, you don't even have to set a level. You don't have to say we're even going to the level. I'm running a game right now for my Wonder Panda campaign. We've been running this game for, I don't know, 3 years. I have no idea what level we're going to. I have no idea. No idea at all. We might end at level 12. Who knows? I just don't know. I don't necessarily... Sometimes I do plan to hit certain levels. Most of the time, I don't even put any thought into it. In all honesty. My mug? Can somebody link Wyatt my mug on Amazon? It's just a exclamation point mug. It's not like the exact mug that I have, Wyatt, but it's very close. The mug that I have, like, I don't know how you can get it. I got it at a shop in Michigan. I forget the name of it. It's up in Mackinac City. I forget the name though. It's like Fantasy something. I don't know. They have tons of crazy awesome stuff in that shop, but I don't know how you can get this exact same one. Kai David says, why do you have a camera pointing to your drink? Well, you want to know the real truth? Here's the real truth, Kai. Let me break this down. So the real truth is that I frequently need to show my desktop on my live streams. So, oops, that's the wrong one. So like, for instance, tonight we're going to be creating an adventure. And so I will be drawing a map probably at some point. So I need to be able to show the grid paper. Also, I paint miniatures. So I need to be able to show my minis on camera when I am painting them. And this is horribly out of focus because I don't have it set up for minis tonight. I have it set up to show the surface of the table. But when I'm painting minis, I need to be able to show that. And I figured, hey, you know what? When we're not doing those things, why not let everybody just monitor my coffee consumption and let me know when I'm getting low? So yeah, that's why you can see my drink. Washasaya, I don't know anything about the Battle Master in Unearthed Arcana. I don't really read Unearthed Arcana very much. How do you? I can't even read all of the official books that I've bought. How do you plan to edit? What are your criteria for you to end a campaign? What? Okay, so, how do you plan to end, or what are your criteria for you to end a campaign? Oh, I don't know. So I usually have a big bad in mind, and so for my Sword Coast Guard, I had a big bad in mind. I had Lord Paxton. I knew Lord Paxton was the big bad. I had no idea what he was, though. I positioned him as the big bad. The players heard about him. They ran into his lieutenants. They were fighting him for years. But I didn't really know what Lord Paxton was. I hadn't picked out a stat block. I hadn't picked out a monster. He was just Lord Paxton. He was this mysterious figure. My players are like, well, he must be a storm giant or a what's the other one? What's the other type of giant? The high ones up at the ordning. Storm giant or not a frost, cloud giant. But I didn't know what he was going to be. And so that gave me the freedom to just kind of play the campaign, have adventurers come across, have the players working toward confronting Lord Paxton, taking down his lieutenants. And then when it felt like it was the right time to end the campaign, they were at level 17, I think. You know, I mean, I made the decision a little bit before they got to 17. I had kind of planned out the end of it. But there was a point in time where I was like, you know what? It's time to wrap this up. I see the end in sight. I think we're going to have this, and this happen. These situations will happen. I don't know what the players are going to do, but these things will happen. And then there'll probably be a final confrontation. And at that point, I kind of planned it out. But it was just a gut feeling. I didn't know in advance how it would go and how to end it, you know? Yeah. So I don't think there's no real advice there. It's just a feeling that I have when it's the right time to do something, if that makes sense. Like right now for my Wonder Panda campaign, I feel like it's starting to get to be the right time to end that campaign. They're level 9 right now, and I feel like it's time to draw it to a close and probably wrap it off around level 12 or so. And right now they're pandas. They're like humanoid pandas from a different world that are trapped in Faerun, and they're trying to get back to their home world. All they really care about is getting back to their home world, which by the way is a bad premise for a game, I found, because the players don't really care about the game world or the problems in the game world at all. They have no vested interest in doing things. They really just want to go home. And so the only way to actually get them to do anything in the world that they're trapped in is to basically say, in order to get more information about going home, you have to do this thing. And it's a very poor way to motivate them. So I think the whole premise is flawed, in my opinion. And I'm never probably going to do that again. Because all they really want to do is go home. And that's like really the only motivation I have for them. You know, it's a powerful motivation. I can get them to do the plot hooks are easy to make. You know, it just doesn't give them any real freedom, you know, and I don't like that. That's not usually how I run games. And so I'm kind of getting tired of it. And I really want to wrap this up, get them home, and then start over and do something different. So I think we're kind of stuck in that premise, you know, and I could get them back. I could get them back to their homeworld, and then they could continue playing the game in their homeworld, except that then I have to create an entire new campaign world. And I don't do that. I use pre-made worlds. So yeah, that's not really on the table either. That's way too much work. I don't have time for that. So yeah, those are some thoughts. I don't even know what the question was. How am I gonna RP Strahd? Big evil guy or sympathetic?
Do you have no idea how evil and selfish and deprived Strahd is? Sympathetic? Sympathetic? Strahd will rip their hearts out and take their souls.
That is how I'm gonna roleplay Strahd. They're already like they're like dunk. We're playing this Sunday on Twitch, by the way, 4 p.m. Eastern. We all of my Sword Coast Guard, not my all my Curse of Strahd games are over on Twitch. You can watch them, and they go to my second YouTube channel, the DM Lair streams. Could a mod drop a link to that? It's called YouTube 2 for that channel. You can watch all those games. You like that voice, Dito? What program am I using? Well, let me show you what I'm using. This is another advantage of having the coffee cam. This right here is a Go XLR streaming board. That's what I'm using. So it has its own software and stuff that comes with it, but it's very expensive. So you know, it does a whole bunch of cool stuff. You did not expect that? Does the streaming board work with Roll? Yeah, I mean, the streaming board like takes my voice and everything that I do and puts it out into the internet. So it absolutely it doesn't interface with Roll20. It just modifies your sound, and your outgoing signal is modified. Okay, so what am I doing? All right, my phone was going off because it is there to remind me to take a moment to thank our awesome patrons and members who help pay the bills around here and make everything possible. Really appreciate you guys. Want to give a shout out to Beoban, Candy Sora, Clammed Oyster, DM Silver, Drake H, Float 71. That reminds me of like root beer floats with ice cream in them. You guys know what those are? Oh my gosh, those are so good. Float, this is bad, Float. Iron Lord 79, John Henry, Joe M, Joseph H, the print's really small on my screen, Karen D, Kurt Y, Lord Humongous, Meepy 670, Mr. T, Nathan, One Leg Hendo, Patrick C, Penguin Butt, Rainier the Conqueror, Sophia W, Son of a Sofa Man, Tactical Tokens, Tim Black, Theta Tag, and Yokai. Thank you, folks. Appreciate everything you do. All right. How do I decide the topics for my videos? So I have a massive Trello list. It's like a Kanban board. Okay, that might not explain it. It's a way to make lists. I have a massive list of ideas for my videos. Many of the ideas I get from like, some of them just kind of come into my head. Others I'll see a need for something. Others people will leave comments on my videos and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea for a video. Some of the videos are chosen by my patrons. Like one of the benefits my patrons get is they generate ideas for videos and then they get to vote on one video a month that I make. And that's just one of their perks they get for helping support the channel. So that helps generate ideas for videos as well. And then really I just, I have a process of prioritizing them. Basically, whichever videos I think that people are gonna find most useful, those are the videos I focus on. So, you know, murder hoboing was a video I did recently. I was like, oh, this is a useful topic. Let's talk about this. I'm gonna be having videos come out about, you know, splitting the party and running parties together and tips for doing so. So like that's this useful information. Most of my videos, the primary thing going on in my head when I'm making my videos, most of the time, occasionally I make a video because I want to and I think it's gonna be fun. But most of the time my videos, the consideration is, okay, is this something that's going to be useful for dungeon masters? Is this gonna help them run better games? And if yes, that's a really good motivating reason for a video. I don't make player videos. I do not make videos for players. There's most D&D folks on YouTube are making videos for players. That niche is being served and I'm happy to let them do that. My heart is for dungeon masters and I want because if without the dungeon master, you don't have a game. And so my videos are focused all on helping dungeon masters improve their craft and all that good stuff. How did you get stuck with the fun role of DM since high school? I chose it. I like it. And I actually don't like being a player. I mean, if I might enjoy being a player in like a really good game. But I have been in games that were good and I enjoyed them and I was happy to be a player in them. Most games I'm in, I'm mostly just kind of bored. It's hard too because I don't know. I'm always like, There's always this like inner criticism going through my mind of like, oh, you know what? Oh, they should be doing that better. And oh, why'd they do that? Oh, come on. Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, no. You know, it's like I can't help it. It's this inner thing going on in my head of like, oh. And so sometimes that kills the fun, you know? So I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. I'm out of coffee. So out of coffee. It's not fun. Joseph says, you said the premise for your Panda games is flawed, and I've run into those flaws in my own games. What are some criteria for a strong core premise for a game? Oh, I don't know, dude. Wow. It's like, I feel like some of that you're going to get from experience. I would have to generalize that answer so much that I don't even know if it's useful. I feel like one huge, massive premise needs to be, for a game, needs to be the dungeon master's interested in it and enjoys the idea and thinks it's really cool. Because if the dungeon master doesn't like the idea behind a game, the game's probably going to suck and he's not going to have fun, and then he's going to be like, peace out. So like, I think the dungeon master has to buy into it. I think the premise also has to be solid enough that the players are going to enjoy it as well. And again, I'm so super generalized here that this probably isn't even helpful. You know, you need to have a strong villain or something, but not necessarily. You might just have a ton of villains. I don't think I have a good answer for that. You know, I feel like, and even if you have lots of experience and you're good at being a DM, you're still going to run into situations like the one I'm in, where it's like, okay, here's our premise, and you play it for a while, and then you're just like, oh gosh, I don't like this premise. This is a bad premise. And now I know, and I've learned, you know, but to extrapolate that information and create like some guidelines and overall premise of how to apply it to games, I don't have that. I don't even know if I could do that. It's an interesting thing to think about, but I don't know what the answer is. What's the funniest theme of a game you've ever DM'd for? I don't know. Those are the types of questions I'm just always going to be like, I don't know. Is being a DM going to ruin the player side of the game for me? Will I be a DM forever? Not necessarily, Benjamin. Not necessarily. I think that's my own problem. I think that's my problem. That's just me. Most dungeon masters I talk to love being players and enjoy being players. And being a dungeon master doesn't ruin the playing for them. I think that's just me. I think that's unique to me. Most people that I talk to are not like that and don't experience the same thing. Not in my experience. So I don't think so. Cat's Kit Kat says, I have a lot of storyline ideas for my campaign, but I can't find a way to simplify them enough to make into a game. It's absolute chaos. Any tips to clean it up? Yeah, get rid of most of it. Just weed it. Gut it out. Get rid of it. It's too much. Like if writers know that you gotta kill your darlings, you gotta get rid of the chaff, you gotta get that crap out of there, you gotta simplify it. You need to get rid of that crap. Get rid of all of. You need to like be like, what's the thing I'm most excited about? This right here. Boom. That's it. That's what I'm doing. That's my idea. That's my idea. And don't think storyline. Don't think storyline. We're not writing stories in D&D. We're not writing stories. We are creating a interesting situation, a problem in the world. I do not create stories. I create situations. My players then look at that situation and they're like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go that way. Am I going to go that way? You know, am I going to burn it down? Am I going to blow it up? Am I going to diplomacy it? You know, how am I going to approach that? And the decision of the players of how they're going to approach that, and then what happens as a consequence, that determines the story. So it is erroneous, I feel, for dungeon masters to think I'm creating a story. And that leads to a lack of player choice. It leads to a lack of feeling like they can influence the game world. And then you get to like the big R words like railroading and stuff like that. So I never think storyline. I think situation. Lord Paxton is trying to take over the Sword Coast by turning people into his vassals. Not by conquest, although he will do that if needed, but he really just wants people to become his vassals. And so he's doing various things to make that happen. That's the situation. Now, if the players decide to approach that different ways, that's up to them. I create little situations here and there, things that are happening. My players decide how they're going to do it. There have been times where there was an ambush I set for them. They knew it was an ambush, and they decided, you know what? It's an ambush, but we're gonna walk right into it and we're gonna spring it on purpose. And there's been 2 times actually they've done that. One time it turned out very, very poorly for them. They got their butts handed to them, and it didn't go well. And the other time they did that and they won, you know. But I think of creating situations, problems in the game world, my players, and then the consequences of how they interact with it. That creates the story. I've not been looking at the spreadsheet at all. Holy crap. Michael says, how much established lore do you put in your setting versus making your own world? It seems most D&D GMs end up creating their own world. Other tabletop RPGs seem to lean heavily on established lore. I do not create my own world. I don't do that. I use pre-established worlds. I have, because I've been so busy with the YouTube channel and other pursuits that I have going on right now, I have been a little bit lackluster in my injection of lore and interesting stuff into my games, in my personal opinion. And so that's something that I actually was thinking about a week or 2 ago, and went back to my Ancient Dragon game and was looking at some ways I could spice that up and make it a little bit more rewarding for my players. What was the question again? So how much, so like, I will take from the campaign source material, you know, the world, and put stuff in there from time to time. But from time to time, but the way I run my game, and this is a personal thing, but the way I run my games, the games deal a whole lot more with the adventure themselves and the situation that the players are confronting themselves with. The world tends to be just in the background. That's not like, I don't present that as the most interesting thing. I present the adventure and the villain and the, you know, the situation, the things that are happening. Those are like the super interesting stuff. Those are the things that I shine the spotlight on in my games. But that's just my personal approach. You know, that's just how I do it. It doesn't mean that's the right way or by any means. You know, there are different ways to approach this thing, you know. I have to get coffee. I'm out of coffee. This is a problem. All right, back. Oh, Joe's in the house. Yeah, I'm doing a couple little tweaks to the Ancient Dragon game, making it a little bit better in my opinion. I don't know if you'll notice a difference or not. They're not huge dramatic changes, but there are a couple of things. Did Lord Paxton have a stat block? Yep, he did. All right. How exactly did I end my Sword Coast Guard campaign? With a big dramatic boss fight. And that video is over on my second YouTube channel, the DM Lair streams. Could a mod drop a link to that? YouTube too. I'm not gonna describe the whole thing right here, dude. How might you balance encounters for a smaller party, like 3 people, without making combat seem easier or less exciting? Well, action economy is a consideration, so have fewer monsters, like 3 monsters, 2 or 3 monsters, and then you use an online calculator. I'll go to my online calculator again. Every time somebody asks me how to balance things, I just show you my calculator. It's not mine. I didn't make it. I don't own it. That's the calculator. This is it. It's pretty self-explanatory. You put in numbers, you pop. So if I have 3 characters and they're level 5, calculate, and then I have 3 monsters and they're CR 3. Holy crap, that's too hard. They're gonna die.
Which is exactly what we want.
But then that's too much. So let's say level 1. Boom, that's easy. Okay, let's have a level 2. That's hard. Okay, maybe that. That's it. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. But no, not Cobalt. I don't use Cobalt Fight Club. That's what I use. I use the thing that I used. Cobalt Fight Club is best for generating random encounters, in my opinion. But I usually don't use random encounters. Simpatico says, yeah, we don't even really need the Luke half. For what? The game? Whatever, dude. Simpaticos is in my Curse of Strahd game. Omega says the reason I create my own world is that all the Sword Coast adventures and other source materials already have been done to death by my players, so I provide fresh campaign hooks. Yeah, that's legitimate, dude. I 100% support dungeon masters who want to make their own worlds, and I know that I am the anomaly. Most dungeon masters love creating their own game worlds. That's part of what the drive for being a DM is, and they love that, and that's great. I'm just saying, I personally don't do it. One of the big reasons that I personally don't do it is I don't have time to do it. And when I start reading things like Eberron, you know, the 5th edition one that came out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's like, oh, I'm just going to use this. Are you kidding me? I'm just going to use this. It's amazing. I really recommend Eberron. It's a really good book. And you can trust me when I say something is good, because I have bashed enough of Wizards products to be trusted to tell the truth. That's a fact. What do I think of the statement? You can be part of the D&D community even if you've never played or never will play a game. I don't know. What's the context of that? I need context around that. I don't know what that means. What? What, Squeaky? A Squeaky's down here pawing at me. I have a couple players who feel like they have nothing to do. They're playing Warforged, and one has said he can't develop his character because no one talks to him in game. Advance. Okay. Ask them. Ask them for specifics. He already gave you one specific. Your player already told you one thing that you could do to help him. Have more people talk to him in game. There you go. Ask them for more specifics. Say, hey, how can I help you, dude? All right, so you're saying you have this problem. That's great. I would love to make this game more enjoyable for you. So can you give me some specifics of things that you would like to see in the game? What are some things that I can do to make this game better and more engaging for you? And then see what he has to say. And then take that stuff and, you know, not everything your players want you to do, you should do. But some of it's going to be gold and is going to help you to give a better game for them. You just got caught in epic rain coming back from buying minis? Oh, nice. It's cool, man. First time DMs should try a pre-gen world. Don't have to, but it helps. Oh, it so helps. The thing is I feel like first time dungeon masters are probably so amped up and excited that they're going to create their own stuff. Not going to tell them not to. But there is a lot of value in using professionally made products to see how it's done, essentially. You know, it's like if I'm going to build a house, you know, I'm not just going to go at it alone. You know, I'm going to probably learn a little bit from professionals of how to do that thing before I feel like I'm able to do it on my own. And that's an extreme example, but the general idea. So it is my recommendation probably to start out with stuff that's already been created. Use pre-existing game world. You know, use a module and see how that's done and see how that works, you know. And then once you got a feel for it, okay, now I'm going to create my own thing, you know. But if you've been a player for a while and you've experienced that and seen that, then you might be able to go directly into creating your own thing. But you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. Nobody's stopping you. I didn't run any modules my entire life. I grew up. I did have Forgotten Realms campaign setting, but from the time I was in high school to like, I would say about 3 years ago, I never ran pre-made modules ever. I always made my own adventures from scratch, from the monster manual, the Dungeon Master Guide. And that's how I did it for like the longest time. Before recently, about 3-4 years ago, I can't put a time on it exactly, I was like, hey, I should go get a module, and you know, professionals made these. They might be halfway decent, and some of them are. And then I tried them out, and you know, I learned crap from them. And I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing here. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I like how you designed this dungeon. Like the Forge of Fury, for instance, in the Tales from the Yawning Portal, is an amazing adventure. It's very well designed. And I could go into details of why, but I won't bore you with it. But it's a really well designed adventure. But many of the other adventures in that book suck. I wouldn't buy that book just for that adventure. But the Forge of Fury is really well designed, in my opinion. Professionals.
Yeah, like they're totally professional.
Well, most of those modules, a lot of those modules get outsourced to different companies anyway. At least some of them I know have been outsourced, and different people do them. Which I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. So many questions, so little time. I know, dude. The best thing you can do to a module is take a meat cleaver to it. Nah. Only if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna make it worse. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Here we go. Is there a pre-made module which is suitable as a one-shot? Not that I'm aware of. Endover isn't a one-shot. No, a module. You don't. Where's a module? Let's find a module. Okay, so the day that you can create a one-shot that's this thick and people will pay $50 for, that's the day you're gonna find a one-shot module. But you will not find one-shots this thick because you can't do this in one shot. You're gonna find one-shots that are like itty bitty things like that. So you don't make hardcover books that you're gonna charge $1 for. You lose your butt on that. You know, you're gonna Wizards is gonna make thick books. You know, if you're looking for a one shot, then you're gonna go to DM's Guild or Drive Through RPG. That's where you're gonna find one shots. Like I have lots of one shots that I've published over on Drive Through RPG. I have lots of one shots that I published on my website, thedmlair.com, and you can get those for free. But a published module one shot, you're probably not gonna find that. You might find a collection of one shots in a module. That yes, that you could find. In fact, I would say that Nerdarchy's thing that what do they call that? Nerdarchy just did a Kickstarter about a year ago. And what's the name of it? What was the name of the book they kickstarted? I mean, I should know. I helped them promote it. But what is it called? What was the name of their Kickstarter? Somebody knows. Somebody, chat knows. Come on, chat. Don't let me down. What was the name? What was the name? You guys are killing me. Come on. Somebody's got to be faster. The Encounters. Yeah, what's it called? Encounters. Out of the box Encounters. Thank you. That is more like a one shot. They called them Encounters, but they had like maps and stuff. So something a little bit more than that would be like a one shot. Now I have a Kickstarter coming out, but it's designed to be a module. It's not designed to be a one shot. However, one of the stretch goals will be for me to make one shots that go into the Kickstarter. You know, actually, that might be the next Kickstarter I do. It might just be one shots. That's interesting. Because that's a really good point. Can you buy collections of one shots? Ooh, that sounds interesting. I think I have information about my Kickstarter over on the Discord. There's a link to my Discord below. Moderator will drop a chat to it. My players want me to continue one shot. I want to give them some amulets that they should find. How to make each amulet's quest different. I don't know how I can answer that. You just do it. You just do it. You make each quest different. And you've already given 2 examples. One is a robbery and one is underwater. I think you have a good start on that. I don't have any more suggestions besides just starting and just doing it. Sorry. Unless you want me to write it for you, but that we can't do that on a stream. Peleg says, I'm starting an adventure around Christmas with new players. I'm looking for an adventure to take them level 1 to 5. If possible, something with lots of Fae. Can you recommend a module? Oh, dude, I think I know a module. Actually, I think there's one called Into the Fae that will be coming out. It'll be coming out on Kickstarter September 1st, actually, and yeah, that it has lots of Fae in it. So yeah, thanks, buddy. You can check that one out. It's like a plant. How do you deal with players when it is time to let one of them know they aren't welcome back to the table? For one reason or another, like cheating or breaking other absolute house rules. Okay, Zach. Well, I talked to them. So here's the thing. When you got a problem player, it's best to start talking to them soon about the problem. I recently, and I say recently, about a year, I think it was about a year ago, I had a player who left the game. He was on the cusp of being kicked out, and he decided to leave of his own volition because he knew it was coming. So, but he was a problem for various reasons, and I spoke with him on several occasions, you know, about the things that he was doing that were causing a problem for the game, you know, and he was amicable about it and stuff, and it was good conversations, and you know, but things were still a problem until they were no longer a problem because the problem left. So I recommend talking to them. Don't just be like, all right, you're out of here. So like, it's like, think about this. Think about if you have a job and one day you think you're doing fine. You don't know there's any issues. And then all of a sudden one day your boss is like, you're fired. Get out of here. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Wouldn't you much rather have your boss come to you and be like, hey, Luke, you know what? You're failing in this thing. I need you to get better at this. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. And then, hey, Luke, you know what? This is a problem too. Could you do this? Okay, yeah. And that point, if you refuse to improve on those things and you still keep failing on those things, then when your boss comes and says, Luke, I've talked to you about those things and you're still not doing them, this is not going to work. You're gone. You know, you have no one to blame but yourself. I mean, unless your boss is being a completely unreasonable moron, but then you could argue that you probably don't want to work for him anyway. So it's kind of a win-win. So the same thing with players, talk to them, try to help them, you know, but ultimately, like if the dude needs to go because he's a problem and he's ruining people's game experience, what you don't want to do is ignore a problem player and let him drive away other players. That is the worst thing you could possibly do, because then you're stuck with the one problem player, the guy that you don't even want to play with, and all of your good players have gone. You don't want to be in that position. So like, take care of business. And is it fair that the dungeon master has to do that? No, probably not. But the fact of the matter is that players generally look to the dungeon master to take care of that sort of thing. You are the leader. You're the one getting everybody together. They look to you for that, and you got to put your big boy pants on or whatever and take care of business. You know, is it fair? No, probably not. But like, dude, it is what it is. So just get it done before your group falls apart, you know? That wasn't a rant. That was just a talk. I wasn't ranting, Nixit. It was just an amicable conversation. You've heard that a lot, eh, Luke? What? The what? Heard what a lot? I don't know. I hear a lot of things. A lot. I don't know. William says, do you give your players very linear objectives, or do you prefer a more open world feel? I enjoy player agency, but appreciate the speed of a more linear campaign. What I generally like to do is give my players options. It's my preference. Am I always able to? Not always. It depends on how much time I have to prep and other factors. But for instance, take my Curse of Strahd game. My players right now have about 3 different plot hooks that they could pursue, and they're welcome to pursue any one of them. One of them is probably way more difficult than they're ready for, but I'm not telling them that. They need to figure that out themselves. So they have maybe 3 or so different things. I think they're about to get a 4th one as well. They just don't know it yet. And so I give them lots of options of things they could do in the game world. And then whichever one they go off and do, that's the one that I prepare for, and that's the one that I run for them. And I do a similar thing for my Ancient Dragon game. I give them like 2 or 3 different options of quests, contracts, because they're playing an Acquisitions Incorporated game, contracts that they get that they could pursue at their leisure, or, you know, they get to choose which one they want to go on. And then they tell me, Luke, we are interested in this one. I then go prepare that one. So that is my way of giving them choice to do certain things, but also giving myself the ability to actually prepare that thing, because I'm not going to improvise like every single game from nothing. That is one of the most difficult things you could possibly do, in my opinion. And I don't want to do that, you know. And that's not I'm not going to run the quality of the game is not going to be as good if I don't prepare anything and I improvise it 100% from scratch than if I prepare stuff. And so I try to strike a little happy medium in the way that I run my games. But there is nothing wrong with linear objectives. People seem to like elevate this whole, oh, sandbox. Oh, it's like this holy shrine or altar that they lift up and say, the sandbox, it's amazing. The sandbox, a true sandbox, is incredibly difficult for a dungeon master to run. A true sandbox requires you to ostensibly prepare everything in advance and have everything in your brain ready to go, so wherever your players go, you're ready for it. And that's so much stinking work. Like, so you go on Reddit and stuff like that, and they're all just like, sandbox are here, and then they're like, railroading is bad, you know. But they need to play some games before they pass judgment on those things. They need to be dungeon masters before they criticize that stuff and experience what it's really like. All right, I've talked about that enough. What type of tabletop RPG video content do you think is missing from YouTube's community currently? I have no idea, because I don't really watch D&D videos on YouTube. I really don't. So I have no idea. Charles says, I'm thinking of trying out being a DM. Do you have any advice or tip? Yep. I have an entire YouTube channel with advice and tips. Like, there's no way that I can boil everything down into, like, you know, a couple paragraphs right now. So I'm going to give you a cop-out excuse and say, watch my videos. Like, I literally have spent hundreds of hours creating all of this content. And it's the best I got. And it's all contained in my videos. I know that's not a very helpful answer, but it's the truth. Sarsidins says, how do you handle players who say they're interested in D&D to your face, the DM, but still show disinterest in the game? I kick them out of the game and get players who want to play D&D. They're giving you the proper social response because they don't want to hurt your feelings, is what's happening. It's either that or you're running a bad game and they're not having fun and they just don't want to tell you that either. And they don't want to hurt your feelings. It's one of the two. You know, this is a social thing. People don't want to say no. They don't want to turn you down because then they're going to feel bad. So they say yes and they agree to things that they're really not interested in. But if you perceive that, then let them off the hook. You know, say, hey, dude, you know what? You don't seem to be super interested in this game. If you don't want to play, that's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You know, I don't want to be forcing you to play something that you're not having fun doing. You know, I know we're friends and I asked you and you said yes and stuff, but dude, like, if this isn't your jam, that's fine. We can go play like games, basketball and stuff, and we can still be friends. You don't have to do this. So give them an out, you know, because they might just not want to do it. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. Just because your friend doesn't like D&D and want to play it doesn't mean you got to stop being friends. It just means that you find other people to play D&D with. And then you keep playing other stuff with that friend and do other stuff with that friend. No, I have not watched a crap guide to D&D. I can't watch videos with that much profanity in them. I'm sorry. Can't do it. I just can't do it. How do you plan to end? What are the criteria for you to end a campaign? Oh, I answered that already. I already answered that. Will there be a Roll20 version of End of the Fae? Not planning on it right now. For the simple fact that, like, whenever you're attempting a new endeavor, something that's totally new to you, you need to limit the scope of what you're doing so that you don't fail. So right now, the scope of what I'm doing is limited so that I can make sure that I can deliver a quality product to people, which is the book, the module, to put stuff in Roll20 and do all of that. I have no experience with that. I've never done that sort of thing before. I would probably have to spend a lot of time. I'd probably have to hire people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I cannot commit to that because I don't want to fail. I don't want to promise something that I am unable to deliver to people. And so I'm intentionally limiting the scope of what I'm doing. Now in the future, if I get some free time, and that looks like something cool that could be done, and I have time to dedicate to it, then I will investigate and look into things like that. Sure, when it makes sense to do so, but I can't commit to that sort of thing. I would be lying to you if I told you that I would do it. And I do not commit to things that I can't follow through on. That's like, it's basic integrity, in my opinion. How do you deal with scheduling problems? Well, get them fired from their job. I don't know. How are you?
We have new Dungeon Master advice. If your players are busy, get them fired.
If they can't play, they can't play. What are you gonna do? If your schedules don't align, it doesn't work. You're gonna have to find players whose schedules align. There's no other solution. There's no other solution besides getting them fired. And that's probably not a nice thing to do. Nixon11 says, does it help your channel if we smash the like button? Yes, it does. Steve Von Doom says, hi, is this X's boss? Yeah. That dude's on drugs. Drugs and dragons. Fire them. Oh, man. That's nice. What stories do you tell people you've never played before to tell them that what your experiences are like with the game? I don't know. It's hard for me to think of that stuff. What, Squeaky? I usually don't try to convince people to play the game, in all honesty. Simply because, like, I have full groups and I have waiting lists for people to play, so it's not something I usually do. I'll talk up the game, I'll tell them how awesome it is and stuff, but I don't have stories for them. Misty says, what do you think about making a video on cheap alternative D&D supplies for beginner groups, like painting minis on cardstock, cheap grids, etc., like a bare bones? I mean, yeah, they would probably find that useful. Yeah. I can put it in the video backlog, but I can't commit to doing it. I'm just being honest with you. I've got so many videos in the backlog. I'm sure it'll be useful though. William says, you think players should have roles inside the party or just do whatever? Most of my groups, the players have no roles whatsoever inside the party. The only group that has roles in the party is my Acquisitions Incorporated group, kind of, because being part of Ac Inc. means that you get like franchise roles. But that kind of affects how they play the game, but not a whole lot. Sometimes it happens to come out, the one dude's got a whisper jar that records stuff, and so he'll be like, I opened my whisper jar up to record this conversation, and it's really cool. But most of the time you never even notice that they have roles. My cat down here is jealous. He wants attention. Poor Squeaky. So my answer to that would be roles? What roles? We never have roles. I'm making a game in a modern setting. I know, no tips. I don't run games in modern settings, so I have no experience with that. And usually I make videos and give tips on things that I have experience with, because it usually works better that way. It's like, Luke's the DM liar. He just makes stuff up. That probably wouldn't go well. I actually have played Call of Cthulhu, which is kind of modern, but only a few times. I don't have enough experience with that stuff to give you good advice. Will you make a video on how you started your channel? No, nobody would watch it. That's one of those videos that like would get no views and nobody would care about it. And if nobody would watch it, it means people are interested in it. And I want to deliver content that people find useful. Like people, some channels make these update videos. And if you ever notice these update videos, nobody watches them. Like nobody cares, dude. Nobody's gonna watch your update video, man. So I'm gonna spend my time making videos that people find beneficial. I can talk about that stuff on a stream or something. Where we are right now. How many pounds of cat treats do you go through for cat strikes each month? Not a whole lot, to be perfectly honest with you. This is what I have here, and this guy's getting excited. Squeaky's down here getting excited, and probably one a month. It's not that bad. My cats aren't that big. There are channels on YouTube where their videos are about how they made their channel. It reminds me of a multi-level marketing con where the actual product they sell is the tapes on selling. Dude, a lot. I feel like a good cats are coming now. They all heard the treats. They all heard the treats. There are a lot of these YouTube advice videos on YouTube. I watched some of them, and some of them are literally the person was not successful at all and had never done YouTube or anything like that. And then they started doing a YouTube channel about how to make YouTube videos. And then that channel grew and grew until they were successful on making a YouTube channel about making YouTube videos or channels, you know, and that's all they really have to show for themselves. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them that I've seen are like that. It's kind of like the fake it till you make it thing. There's at least one girl I know who's done that, and she's making fat money right now too, by the way. And she just faked it. Give the cats a treat. Oh, Joe, thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. But yeah, these guys are pretty hungry. Oh, look at that. He speaks. You guys want to do a cat strike? Do a cat strike real quick. Oh, you see, somebody got my cats riled up, and now we have to give them food. I usually can get cats from all the way upstairs to come down when I do this. Come on, let's go. All right, we got a little bit of a crowd going on here. Squeaky, squeaky. Come on, let's go. Orange. Orange is afraid and doesn't want to come over. Oh, here comes mommy. Mommy's coming over. There we go. But Orange doesn't want to come over. Squirty Pie. Come on, get some food. Squirty Pie is over there on a shelf. Doesn't want to come down. Squirty Pie. Come on. They're going to eat it all. Squirty Pie. Come on. Okay, Squirty Pie is coming. I got her to come down now. Come on, Squirty. Come on. Look it, they're eating food. Get your big butt over there. Over there. Yeah. Come on. You can just see her head. We're just getting her on there. Orange. Come on, Orange. Orange. Orange is afraid. He doesn't want to come over. Oh, man. I have 4 chonkers and 3 cats. Thank you, Penguin Butt. I am a Beastmaster Ranger. Yes. Look at Orange is kind of coming over. Orange, come on, get some food. Orange. Orange is so dumb. He just sits there. Oh, What am I doing? Coffee's empty. Have I ever run the same adventure for different players? Yeah, I have. I don't do that very often because it gets boring for me, but I have done it. Conventions, I especially do it, but not for normal games. How often will players die in your games? How do you keep the game dangerous and exciting without making things too hellish? Hey, don't fight. Players die all the time in my games. The thing is that in 5th edition makes bringing someone back from the dead trivial. It is so easy to bring somebody back from the dead in 5th edition that I just don't care if it's like, you're dead, great, who cares? That dude's gonna use Revivify in 2 seconds and bring you back to life. So big deal, no big difference. So death is pretty meaningless in 5th edition, in all honesty. Now TPKs, those are actually meaningful. And those don't happen very often at all. How can I deal with a player that just wants to PvP everyone else? Talk to them and tell them to stop. Like, explain to them that I'm assuming that you don't want to run that sort of game. Then you just say, hey, I'm not running that sort of game. Please stop doing that. And if they're just like, and they're just going to do it anyway, then just be like, goodbye. It's pretty simple. I'm starting to DM and creating a campaign. What do you do when you reach a stumbling block? Just figure it out. I think about it and I figure it out. I don't know. I don't know what other answer I could give to that. I don't know. There's always an answer. And usually just involves thinking about it, maybe pinging other people, talking to other people, and getting thoughts and advice. When playing D&D online, do you think having cameras so everyone can see each other has a positive impact on the game? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I run D&D games, and I tell my players, like, I really, really, really want to see a camera. I really want to be able to see your face. Like, so in my day job, I am a scrum master, which is part of that job is a lot of facilitation of meetings, and there is tons of stuff. Like, when I can see people and I can see their faces and I can see their body language, that helps me a ton in my day job. And the same is true when I'm facilitating, when I'm running a D&D game. When I can see people's faces and their expressions and what they're doing, that's good. That is like mountains of information that's going to help me in my game and improve my game, run my game, etc. If I see everybody sitting here like this, that right there tells me that they're not engaged in my game for one reason or another, and I need to figure that out. But if I can't see their face, I have no idea what they're doing. They could be like upstairs talking to their wife, scarfing down pizza, and I have no idea, you know? So yes, being able to see people is very important. I'm worried I'm involving dragons in my game too much. The main villain is a dragon. The first plot item is a dragon egg, and my warlock's patron is a dragon egg. Is that too much? I'm new to DMing. There's no answer to that except for, do your players think it's cool? Are your players enjoying it? Do they think it's fun? Are they interested in it? That is really your only measuring stick for so many things about your game. It's your players. You know, what's their reaction to it? Do they think it's cool? Are they having fun? Or do they think it's like, oh, another dragon egg. That's great. Oh, look at that. A wormling dragon. Oh, an adult dragon a little bit late. So like, your players are going to be the mechanism by which you can get feedback. You know, they don't have to say anything. You can just read their faces too. And that's what's going to help you tell if it's too much or not. Yoran says, I'm starting my first campaign as a DM soon. Any tips to help me not feel overwhelmed? There's no coffee in that mug. The more you prepare, the more prepared you are, usually the calmer you're going to be and the more confident you're gonna feel, and the less you're gonna freak out. Usually. But also just relax. It's your first time. If your players think that your first time running D&D, you're gonna be a grandmaster, then they're morons. They need to understand that it's your first time. The game might not be that good, and that's okay, because it's your first time. And you should know that as well. The expectations for first time DMs are not way up here. They should be down here, because you've never done it before, dude. Nobody should expect you to be a genius at it. They should expect you to be doing it for your first time. And then as you do it more and more, you get better, right? So nobody should have high expectations. And if they do, they're kind of dumb, in my opinion. And they're not being reasonable. For myself, as someone dabbling in doing DMing, is it acceptable to have a party level from 2 to 5 within the span of the one shot I'm planning to do to gain experience? I'm not gonna tell you not to do that, because like, you run your game how you want to run your game. But that would seem really weird to me. Yes. A one shot usually happens in one game session. So to go from level 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 for one adventure for a one shot, that would seem weird to me. But I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm gonna get coffee real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, 24-hour one shot. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's a 24-hour one shot, then yeah, that makes sense. We are gonna go over to Twitch in a little bit here to do our adventure creation. But I feel like we're kind of on a roll here, and there are some good questions coming in, so I want to keep doing this a little longer. Probably at 8 o'clock, we're gonna go over to Twitch, and then we're gonna start the adventure creation over on Twitch. So just so you're aware, because I see some people who are asking about that, so I'm just gonna give you an answer. There was a question up here. Where is this? Cervix says, when you feel like a player is metagaming, such as avoiding the stare of a basilisk, even though their character would have no idea about their ability, what do you do? Let it slide. I want to say that 95% of the time, I let metagaming slide. I just let it slide. It is not the hill I'm going to die on. I'm gonna pick my battles, dude. And usually metagaming is not severe enough for me to, you know, call someone on it. Now, in this case, if it's like, if I describe a creature and they're just like, wait, 6 legs? Yeah, 6 legs. Is it serpentine? Yeah. Does it have a scales? Yep, scales. I'm averting my gaze! And they're like level 3 character, and I'll just be like, why? No reason. I'm just averting my gaze. That sort of thing I might crack down on because it's so blatantly obvious. Yeah, that probably will not slide. But most metagaming, in my experience, is more subtle and not quite as blatant. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. The Shambling Mound. Joe was metagaming so hard on that Shambling Mound. Oh my gosh. He's played Curse of Strahd before, at least parts of it, so I know he knew it was a Shambling Mound too. He was metagaming so hard and hinting to all of you that there was a problem with it. It was so hard metagaming it. I think he was actually gonna try to shoot it or something from a distance. I'm not sure he actually ended up doing it, but I was totally just gonna have it not do anything until it actually woke up. Yeah, that was a case of hard metagaming. And I was just sitting there recognizing exactly what he was doing, and I was just kind of like, Let's see where this goes, dude, because this is not going to go well for you. Fortunately, I feel like the rest of the party kind of like pressured him not. The rest of the party pressured him away from metagaming. He was like, I want to shoot the mound. Like, it was just a mound of vegetation. He's like, I want to shoot the vegetation through the bars. And the rest of the party was like, why? Why would you do that? Well, you know, I'm just the whole death house has me creeped out, you know? That was such hard metagaming. Wow. Simpaticos, be nice to Danny. She has a wrench, dude, and she will smack you upside the head with that. Penguin Butt will too. Danny and Penguin Butt are like tight, and they will team up on you, man. They got 2 wrenches. Is there anything Curse of Strahd does wrong that you've seen improved on elsewhere in D&D? I have only run Death House and Barovia so far in Curse of Strahd, and I am very happy with the module overall at this point. I will say that Death House is not designed for a level 1 party nor for a level 2 party. I had my group go in at level 3, and most of the encounters were not a problem for them. But there were some that were a little bit tougher at level 3. And the mod Death House is recommended for levels 1 and 2. I did not have a problem with Death House. My only complaint about Death House was that there was no read aloud text, and I hated that. I hate the fact that there's no read aloud text. Either way, in my Kickstarter coming out, there's read aloud text because it is lazy not to have read aloud text. That's the only quibble that I have, but the other things I thought were good. You know, for me personally, I didn't have a problem with that. It was nothing that I couldn't solve by running the game using this right here. You found an external source with read aloud text for Death House? Are you serious? Oh gosh, I wish I'd. Dan, why were you not here when I did it? You weren't here. It's not fair, Dan. It's not fair, Dan. Peleg says, I like your 6-second combat turn rule and 1 minute for strategy. My players do take quite a bit of time, but this is their first campaign. How would you adjust the systems for new players? I'm much more lenient with new players. I'm going to help them. I'm going to encourage the other players to help them. If a new player who's never played before doesn't know what to do on their turn, then like, dude, I'm not going to be like, you know, it's like I'm going to give them, you know, leniency, obviously, because they're new. And I'm going to encourage other players to help them, give them suggestions. Sometimes I'll give them suggestions. You know, it's a totally different story when you have a new player who's just learning the ropes than when you have a player who's been playing for decades who still can't decide what spell they're going to cast. That is a whole different story. Whole different story. What do you think? What do you think about one character in the party having a high perception or investigation modifier, making all of the checks for the party? I don't care. That's fine. People that person built their character to do that thing. I'm not going to artificially block them because they built their character to be able to find crap. I'm not going to do it. And if they want to make all the it's like look at me. Like I'm okay. Let's pretend that I'm big and beefy. You know, like, wouldn't you want me to be the one trying to break down doors? Would it not make sense for me to break down the doors? Yeah, of course it would. So if I have proven myself to have a fine ear and fine senses and be able to notice details and find things, wouldn't I be the natural pick to search stuff? Of course I would. And so there's no reason to disallow that or stamp down on that. However, I do have a house rule. Traps and secret doors cannot be found by passive perception. You have to actively look for it. That is my house rule, and it is designed intentionally to make the game more interesting. Because when you have somebody with an 18 passive perception and everything is just like, oh, there's a trap there, secret door right there. Oh, there's hey, there's a trap over there. whoa, 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 hey, you know, there's a secret door. That's just, so like I have a house rule. Trap secret doors, you have to have an active search for it. And if you roll poorly, you can take 10. So I do that for those two things for good reasons, in my opinion. That door is a mimic. Oh, there was totally a mimic door in a game I ran recently, and the players did not see it coming. I totally got them. It was beautiful. They touched the doorknob, and I'm like, oh, it's stuck. And then the mimic came at him. It was beautiful. What do you think about doing a session prep stream so people can get a deeper insight into your system and ask questions as you go? Well, we're actually going to be designing an adventure tonight. Once we get done with Q&A here, and we're going to go over my Twitch channel for that. That's my session prep. Like literally, when I design an adventure, that is what I do to prep for my game. That's it. I don't, you know, I mean, obviously I'm going to read it again, but that's it. That's my prep, dude. I design the adventure and then I read it, refresh my memory before the game. I might pick out the minis I'm going to use, but that's it, dude. There's really nothing else I prep. So literally tonight we're going to be designing an adventure, and that's my session prep. So man, you picked the right stream to ask that question. I'm running my first campaign after only a one shot as a DM experience. Any advice about specificity of story points? I don't want to railroad, but I also want to think. I don't want to think on the fly too much. There's nothing wrong with the railroad. There's nothing wrong with saying. So it gets into the question, what's railroading? You know, different people think different things about railroading. Like if I say, here's an adventure I created, players, please go run this adventure. Some people will tell you that's railroading. I don't think that's railroading. If I create an adventure, to me, it is part of the social contract that the players will go do the thing because I created the thing. Railroading is when there is only one possible way they can defeat this adventure. That's railroading. When they try things, then I'm just like, nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. And then they finally tried the thing that I had decided was the only way to overcome that situation, to defeat that villain. That's railroading. And so I create the adventure, I create the situation, and I say, hey, here it is. And my players, because they respect the social contract, they go do the thing. But I give them the freedom and the ability to choose how they are going to confront that situation and overcome that obstacle. And that is where the freedom and choice comes in. Okay, so that is how I view it. That's how I do it. I usually give my players 3 different things or so that they can go off and do. I give them options so they can choose which one they're most interested in. But at the end of the day, I still prepare something for them to do, because I don't want to improvise entire game sessions either. Because no, I don't want to do that. And ultimately, it's not going to be as satisfying a game experience, in my opinion, for my players if I'm improvising everything. And I will not have fun doing that. If I ever get into a game where my players just want me to improvise everything and they don't want to go on pre-planned things, I will probably stop running the game, because it will not be fun for me and it will not be enjoyable for me. And I will, if that's what those players want, I wish them the best, and I hope they find a dungeon master who will run that game for them. But I am not that dungeon master. Regarding your initiative system, when a player is unconscious, 0 hit points, could she still roll initiative for the group? I don't have players roll initiative for the group. Players roll their individual initiative. If a group is surprised, would the other group automatically start? I don't think I understand the question. Sorry. How do you deal with your party being all family in real life? How do you deal with them? Pleasantly, because you have to live with them. And if you get them mad at you, you have to deal with it later. And like, you know, your significant other, you should make sure you keep on good terms as well. I don't know. Well, I have played D&D with my family before, and I do not change how I play the game. No, my daughter was young. She was about 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old. And so I did change the style of how I ran the game because she was young, you know. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like spare her character if she gets into a problem. You know, I have a youngling group. I think they're about 14 or 15 now. I started playing with them when they were about 12. We've been playing for a few years now, and I do not hold back on these guys. These guys get the full experience. They recently TPK'd, I want to say about 3 or 4 months ago, and had to re-roll their characters. And that's life. Not going to hold back on you guys. I'm not changing the game because you're young. I did a little bit. There are things I did change for them, you know, because of their age. But I did not change the fact that this is a dangerous world and you might die. Because they have. One of them in particular, though 2 of them in particular, die frequently in my games. And they're cool with it. They just roll up new characters. It's part of the game to them. And they have fun. How do you handle leveling a PC that's of lower level than the rest of the party with milestone leveling? I think you've covered this already, but memory sucks slightly. Yeah, my memory sucks too. I basically just have them start at the same level as everybody else. Everybody's level 5 and you're joining the group. Great, you're level 5 too. Boom, we're done. And we call it a day. Or I'll just have them one at the next milestone. If they're level 3 and everybody's level 6, at the next milestone, they become 6 too. Milestone is all about making not all about making things easier for the dungeon master, but one of its big benefits is making things easier for the dungeon master. There are lots of other reasons. I have a whole video on milestone leveling versus XP leveling that goes into details. So this is an instance where I'm just going to be like, you're level 5, you're level 6. We'll just call it a day. That question was just posted. My question was posted at the start. Oh, I don't know what that means. Ethan French, would you like to use this question as a sellout to tell everyone about your upcoming module and how they should watch your channel for awesome D&D DM tips? Yeah, I have a Kickstarter coming out in September 1st called Into the Fae. There's more information about it over on my Discord. It's cool. You'll like it. Level 1 to 5 module. It's got killer art. What do you do if you accidentally put the fear of God into your players and now they're suffering from an analysis paralysis? Example through combat or traps. Whoa, that's interesting. I do that all the time, but my players never. Well, sometimes my players have analysis paralysis. I just pressure them to make a decision. Like once I feel like they've talked something through and they're starting to go around in circles, I'll just be like, hey guys, what are we doing? So guys, what are you gonna do? All right, so what are you gonna do? And you know what? If they're still just gonna go around in circles, I'm just gonna throw a random encounter or something at them. I'm gonna get the game going. I'm gonna do something to get. In my opinion, there is nothing more boring than a game where all you do is discuss what you're going to do. There's a certain amount of discussion that needs to take place to make sure that you guys are on the same page and you're going to do a thing and it's the right thing to do because consequences, understood. But when an entire game session starts to turn into discussing how you're going to do something, that becomes incredibly boring. It is a boring game experience. I was recently in a game where I was a player and we kind of started to get into this where there was a mansion that we were going to go into, and the players, I think there were 4 of us, we were discussing what the optimal way to go about this adventure was. And they talked about it for a little while, different options were laid on the table, but they were having a hard time. I was not the DM, I was the player. And I didn't really care. I didn't care. I didn't care how we did it because I know it's a game. And I know the dungeon master is running the game. So like we had 4 good options. They were all pretty solid, nothing really wrong with them. Any one of them would have done just finely. So like just pick one. And so like there got to a point in that discussion where I was just like, you guys, it doesn't matter. You guys, we just need to pick one. It doesn't matter which one we pick, just pick one. This is me as a player, right? We spent like 20 minutes to a half an hour talking about this. That was way more time than we needed to, you know, because I just wanted to play the game. You know, if we picked the wrong one and we all died, hey, that's awesome. Let's roll up new characters and try again. But yeah, it's super, super boring to just. I once watched a live stream game, and it was the season finale, and all they did for 3 hours was discuss if they were gonna fight the big bad guy or if they were gonna make a deal with him. Literally, 3 hours. 3 hours of that game. Basically, two players were having a discussion. You could tell that one of the players wanted to fight because it's D&D. That's what a finale is. Let's fight. And the other player was like, no, we should make a deal. And those two players were going back and forth. The other like 4 players were mostly uninterested and didn't participate in the discussion. And the dungeon master just let them keep talking. Just let them keep talking. Just talking for 3 hours. Talking about what they were going to do. Talking about... It was just... It's like I was watching it and I was like, wow. Wow. And I think I left a comment or something, and then the dude was like, that's just the game. That's just part of the game. That's how the game is. And I'm just like, that might be how your game is, dude, but that's boring to me. And I'm not going to spend 3 hours. Like, if my players need 3 hours to discuss, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to put my books away. I'm going to go home. You guys call me when you know what you're going to do. I'm going to go eat some pizza or something. Actually, I actually can't. I think I need to stop eating pizza. It's been messing me up recently. I think I'm probably officially off the pizza. Just sad. How do you deal with a player who tries to talk for the party constantly and tries to make little roleplay actions for other people? I stop them and I tell them that they need to give other people an opportunity to play in the game, because other people are sitting around this table and other people want to play the game too. I literally sometimes will shut someone down and be like, hold on a second. And then somebody who hasn't been talking, be like, hey, John, what do you want to do? Do you want to say something to the NPC? What would you like to do? Because a lot of times you got players who are quiet. Sometimes they're quiet because the talky dude won't shut up. And it's the dungeon master's job in facilitating and running the game to make that person pipe down for a second so that dude can actually participate. Sometimes though, the dude who's not talking is happy to not talk and is perfectly fine being a spectator. But the key is giving him the opportunity to talk if he wants to. But if he doesn't, then okay, that's fine. You keep watching. Cameron says, Luke, I have had too much pizza before. Your love of pizza will return. Give it time. Maybe, dude. Maybe. Peleg says, how did you get so good at narrating, especially combat? How can I sharpen my narration skills? Practice. And reading books. How can I sharpen my narration skills to hopefully one day match yours? Practice. Do you write yourself a script or bullet points to prepare? No, I don't. People ask me how I do it. So like literally, I see it in my mind. I see the combat. I see the sword swing. I see it going into the head. I see the skull splitting open. I see the brains flying and splattering all over their shirt, and I can smell it, I just imagine it. It just happens in my brain, and then I verbalize it. It's something I just do. And I think that's practice. It probably comes from doing that for a long time in games. I think it comes from reading books that describe things in vivid detail in an interesting way. I don't know if there's a secret to getting good at that besides practicing. Is some of it natural talent? Possibly. But I'm pretty sure most people can figure it out and learn how to do it if they have a desire and a will to do it and want to practice. Being Luke must be terrifying. Dude, all of these battles, this is all of that stuff is going on in my head when I'm running these games and I'm seeing it all. It's like, yeah. I can describe stuff in such gory, vivid detail. I sometimes I do, but most of the time I hold back because I think it probably would gross people out. I'm going to fight a violent giant shark from a 45-foot sailboat. What are some effective strategies to kill it? Some weapon ideas. I know nothing nautical. I would go watch Jaws. I don't have a good strategy for that. Except for playing the game, what is the most wholesome, best thing a player can do to a GM? Just tell them thank you. Like, The things that have touched me the most as a dungeon master are when a player sends me an email and says, "Hey Luke, I just want to let you know that I love your games. I'm having tons of fun. I look forward to them every week, and my life is got a lot of problems and stuff, but this is something that like actually helps me to get away from that garbage and get my mind off that stuff, and it makes me feel better." That means more to me than anything they could possibly do. Or after a game session, folks just saying, "Hey, thanks, Luke. That was fun. Thanks for running the game for us." Just simple thank yous. Simple thank yous. You know, unsolicited thank yous. Like, I never ask my players, "Did you have fun?" That's a loaded question. They're always going to give you the socially correct answer of, "Yes, we had fun, thank you." So I will never prompt my players for that. I intentionally don't prompt them for that. But when they offer it unprompted, genuinely from their hearts, that means the world to me as a dungeon master. And it doesn't happen a whole lot. So when it does happen, it really touches you. I already did that one. I already did that one too. I did that one too. What are my thoughts on paid DMing? I think there's nothing wrong with it. You're offering a service. So like if you're going to do paid DMing and you're going to have players pay you for a game, then you need to give them an awesome game. You need to make it worth their money, obviously. So there's pressure and expectations. I have an Ancient Dragon game that I run for patrons, and they pay me a good sizable amount of money to play D&D with me. But what that does is two things. It guarantees them that they're getting a quality game because I know that I'm making money off from this, and I'm going to darn well make sure that I fulfill my part of the bargain and give them an awesome game. So they're guaranteed an awesome game. It also helps guarantee that I get dedicated players that are going to take this seriously, players that are going to put time into the game, who are not going to ruin the game for everybody else because they paid a lot of money to play the game. They have a vested interest in making sure that game runs smoothly. So when you get into paid DMing, you have twofold things that make those games good. One, the dungeon master is taking the time to prepare and run a good game. And two, the players, because they paid for it, they have a vested interest in a good game, and they're more likely to, you know, not do crappy things that are going to ruin the game because they want the game to be good. So you get good players, well, you know, ideally, you know, you're going to get that scenario there, and it's going to make for a good game. Is it for everybody? No, it's not. It's not. Not everybody can afford that, and everybody wants to, and that's fine, you know, but there are people out there that are tired of going to a D&D game for 4 hours and having it suck, and then having wasted 4 hours, and they would rather pay money to be guaranteed, for the most part, to have a good game, a good, fun game. Lots of people spend lots of money for entertainment, like movie theaters and stuff like that. And the reason people spend money on movie theaters is they think they're going to be entertained. And, you know, I'm paying money, I'm going to go watch it. You could get free TV, I think, still through like, you know, antennas and stuff. But the quality may or may not be any good. But if you pay for service like HBO or something like that, you have certain expectations of there's going to be a higher caliber here, you know. So as someone who charges for DMing, I can't say that I have a problem with that. It'd be a little hypocritical. You just got to make sure you're good, because if you suck, nobody's going to pay you more than once. How do you get combat to feel more fun and less mechanical on your part as the DM and on the players? So the one thing that I got rid of a couple years ago is rolling damage, and I use average damage now, except for boss fights. And sometimes I like to roll damage dice when it's like a big spell with lots of dice. That makes it feel less mechanical. But the biggest advice that I can give for making combats more fun and interesting and less mechanical and just rolling dice and doing math is narrating things during the game. Not a whole lot. If you go into too much details and it gets too long, then it's too much. A little bit, just a little bit of narration here and here, set the scene and describe what's happening. Now, if you have good players, they're going to do this. Like one of my players in my Curse of Strahd game right now, he is playing a monk, and he describes what he's doing. I'm going to jab him to the face. I'll do an uppercut here. I'm going to do a front kick, you know, or I'll do a back kick. I'll do a spinning kick. He describes this stuff. And that, if you can have players that start to do that as well, not just I attack him, but they describe what they're doing, that is going to make the combat more interesting for everybody, in my opinion. The trick is not, if you go way too overboard, then it slows everything down and bogs things down. You want just enough. And I can't really put parameters around what that is. You just kind of get a feel for it. Simpatico says, I got in before Luke became a celebrity. Lucky. Oh, why? Because you're playing the game with me? I don't know if I classify as a celebrity though. I'm just a YouTuber. Question, how are you doing? Right now I feel pretty good. I have a little bit of a headache. I have a little bit of a headache, but I feel good. I feel pretty good. As a DM, how do you deal with burning out and running out of fresh ideas or running out of steam? I kind of feel like I'm there right now. I'm doing so many things right now. I have a Kickstarter coming up. I'm doing the YouTube channel. I'm doing streaming. I'm running games. Last night I was trying to plan an adventure for my Wonder Panda campaign, and I had nothing. The gas tank was empty, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this. It was a struggle bus. I probably spent 2 hours getting nowhere when I could have got something prepped in 15 minutes for what I was attempting to do. Yeah, that's rough. I feel like one of the things that can help is taking a break and doing something else for a while. You know, there's the saying, absence makes your heart fonder. I also think that just doing it helps. A lot of times just reading about D&D or reading Eberron or reading a module will get me excited too. Like reading Eberron genuinely gets me excited. But sometimes you need a break too. Sometimes you just need to take a break. Unfortunately, I'm in a position where I can't really take a break. Once the Kickstarter gets over, maybe I'll be able to breathe a little bit. Like literally, I get up every morning at 5 and I spend about 3 hours working on Kickstarter stuff. And then I have a full-time day job. And then as soon as I get off my day job, I'm either working on more Kickstarter stuff or game stuff, or I'm streaming. And then the weekends, like my weekends, I spend most of my weekends working on Kickstarter stuff or stuff for my games or running games. Like I can't stop, you know, it's just like, it's nonstop. Do you have a video on dungeon building? Yeah, I do, Lucy. It's called How to Build a Perfect Dungeon. I have an entire playlist on adventure creation, and I have done many videos on how to create adventures and stuff. Melchior says, newsflash, Luke has no life. I have many obligations that need to be fulfilled, and so I do spend most of my time working. What's my day job? I am a scrum master at a company, which I work with software developers. I'm on a software development team, and I'm like, just look up Scrum Master, Google it. It'll tell you what it is. Luke has a life. It's called D&D. It's cool that you have a day job and you're probably pulling in decent money from your online presence and soon the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's very cool. I'm looking forward to the day that I don't have to have a day job. I'm not there quite yet. I'm about a third of the way there. And we'll see how the Kickstarter goes. It might go well. It might not be worth it, but you don't know until you do it, and then you find things out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go to Twitch. So we have been doing the Q&A now for a couple hours, and it's time to create an adventure. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to go over to Twitch, my Twitch channel. If I could get one of my moderators to drop a link to my Twitch channel, and we're gonna continue this live stream over on Twitch, and we're gonna create an adventure together. And the adventure that we create is gonna be available on tomorrow. I'll post links to it all over the place so you guys can get it for free and use it in your games. Now, I didn't get to all the questions, but that's okay because I have live streams over on Twitch Mondays and Wednesdays as well, where you can ask me all your questions. And every Friday, I'm still gonna have Q&A here. So there are 3 live streams a week where you can ask me questions. So if I didn't get to it tonight, please swing by another one and hopefully we'll get you hooked up. But I'm gonna end this thing right here, and we're gonna go over to Twitch. So join me over there. It'll take me about 5 minutes to get the stream stuff transferred over, and then we'll get the Twitch stream up and running, and we will continue over there with adventure creation. So there you go. Thanks folks for hanging out, and I'll see you over at Twitch. And now I'm leaving.